Hello, Taurus. I am Ulrich. I'm a Renault card reader, and today we will do your philosophical financial card reading for the month of March. As always, I will do 4 card readings for you, and these are based on the natural elements in your astrological chart, or for some of you, on your time of birth. These basic elements are air, earth, water, and fire. Now, the 4 objects that you always see on my table are directly connected to those elements. So you choose, or you pick one that you think relates most to your personality, or you choose one you feel most comfortable with. This object of your choice, it should or it will relate the best to your current situation. However, if the object and the related video does not match your first choice, please check the other videos that are immediately connected in the same session. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. Anyway, the matches represent the fire element, the stone represents the earth element, the aerosol spray represents the air element, and the shell represents the water element. Also, I want to add, if you have questions, you can always post them in the comments below, and of course, as soon as I have time, I will answer them. So, Taurus, here we go for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. Hello, Taurus, and welcome to the shell or the water group for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the card of luck. What does this card tell us? Well, it tells us that money don't bring happiness, but of course we all admit that we all want to have enough of it. We all want to make sure that we have enough of it. But according to Maslow's pyramid, of course, we must first meet our basic needs, for example, psychological and security needs, our home, food, and then we aspire to self-fulfillment. This is true. However, connecting to this, it would be wrong to think that the car of the year is included in your basic needs. Anyway, here sometimes maybe we are a little bit blurry and we are forgotten what our real essential need is. Is there some kind of confusion between the basic needs and luxurious goods here? This is what this card asks here. Of course, we all like to have more, we like to spend more. Maybe a lot of us also want to travel more or start traveling, but due to the current circumstances, sometimes it's not possible to travel because we are in a very restrictive world now. Governments are restricting us everywhere. The question of freedom here is also at stake with this card. Maybe you also have the feeling that your freedom is boxed up, and maybe we all collectively need to think about this. Anyway, here, coming back to the card reading, if we connect all this, the luck that we have in our life and the goods that we have in our life, everything that is in our life, our material goods guarantee your feeling of completeness. If you're honest about that, maybe your pursuit of happiness, it's somewhere else here. Sometimes with this card, or we are asked with this card to take a break of the pursuit of our personal happiness. It's all different for us. For some people, this has the standard of a king. For other people, they are more in the middle group, and other people are happy with simple things. We need to add here, if money was so strongly connected to absolute joy and bliss, why are so many of the rich unhappy? Or even depressed. Of course, money is essential for our basic need, but once these are fulfilled, the quest of the pursuit of happiness is no longer connected to our financial ease. Here we see that we need to enjoy the little things in life. We need to appreciate the people around us, and maybe this is your real treasure, the people that are around us. The next card that we are seeing here is the card of well-organized gifts or charity. Here, this points that we are kind-hearted. We take pleasure in spoiling our loved ones. But this is also a card of question. It asks you if the last toy for your son was necessary, or the last doll you bought for your daughter, or the gift that you gave to your nephews. Is it really necessary to pamper those around you so much? This card asks you, or it tells you, that this has a real impact, these purchases, on your daily life and of course on your budget. This card tells us that well-ordered charity, it starts by itself. We all know this proverb, and it teaches us here an important lessons when it comes to spending money. Here we need to think about if your generosity and your kind-heartedness, it leads to problems or it contributes to your financial distress, it has no place in your life. So before we give to others, we are asked here to secure our own future. Make sure that your own feet are very solid on the ground. Taurus likes to have and secure your own future. Build up a safety cushion for yourself, stimulate your own personal future rather than squandering surpluses and buying trivia for your loved ones. Also for them, if you save some money, it could be important for their own future. If you are stable, they will become more stable also. Anyway, here we are asked to remove the essential from the unnecessary. And if you do so, you will be able to establish a wallet which will allow you for a healthy generosity at the right time and in an organized way. The next card that we see here is the card of evolution. What does this card tell us? Well, it tells us that progress is part of life. We all evolve over the years. One decade is not the same as the other. If we compare ourselves where we were 2 years ago and we compare now, it's like we are in an apocalyptic world here. We cannot understand where we are anymore. We cannot understand where our freedoms are anymore. Anyway, 20 years ago, we would have found it unusual to pay a large amount, for instance, for certain services, as there are internet. So it means that our expenses and our needs are increasing and changing. Therefore, we must eliminate certain things in our life that are no longer important to us. For instance, for giving an example here, if you no longer receive calls at home, you could ask yourself, what is the purpose of your landline? If you don't use this number, why not canceling it? Because you need to pay for it. If you no longer watch broadcasts on your cable, what is the purpose of your cable? So we should ask here ourselves the relevance here for instance, for maintaining those subscriptions on these TV channels. Also, for instance, if you are subscribed or something, if you have a daily newspaper or a magazine here and it's available online, sometimes we pay 20, 30, 40% less compared to the paper version. So this card tells us here or asks us to stop these old-fashioned expenses, and we should adjust a little bit to current times. Also, sometimes if we are very long time with the same bank, you should check what your bank is charging you. Even though we don't like to change bank, sometimes it's financially worth it to double check everything around us, especially also related to banks. Anyway, here we are asked to review our monthly payments and ask ourselves questions and adjust to the current times. And instead of spending this to things that are not necessary, keep this for yourself for a rainy day. So Taurus, this is all for the water group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 that are connected here. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. If you have interests in how the evolution on your work or in your businesses, we do also work business card readings with classic Lenormand card readings. And I also have spiritual philosophical card readings. These, the 3 make like a whole, complete. And you can get a little bit wiser in what is for you in petto for the month to come. Anyway, Taurus, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel. I want to thank you for subscribing, and we see each other next time. Bye-bye, Taurus. Thank you. Hello, Taurus, and welcome to the Aerosol or the Air group for your philosophical financial card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the card of deals. What does this card tell us? Well, it probably tells us that this group of people, they like to find discounted items. They like to check out the sections of liquidations in hope to find a beautiful pair of shoes, maybe an electronic object, a piece of clothing, or something that is discounted to a ridiculous amount of money. But this card wants you to understand that every time you buy such a discounted item, you will only get a good deal, of course, if you're able to buy it at a lower price than at the full price. Some merchants are very smart and they add first a certain amount and then they give you the discount. So don't be overwhelmed, this card tell you, or bewitched by certain sales. Keep the head cool, question yourself and question the price, even if the price is reasonable. Above all, do you need this article? By always looking for these discount, maybe you tend to spend more than you anticipated. And the question is it really necessary? Also, sometimes this is about bulk buying. A lot of people buy in bulk because they get nice discounts. But if at the end of the month you catch yourself giving everything away to your neighbors, brothers and sisters, and to acquaintances, what is the purpose of bulk buying? It's not that you cannot have a kind heart and that you cannot be generous, but if you buy a lot in bulk and you always catch yourself giving it away, we should see or think about if this is really economizing. Anyway, this card tells us not to overflow your house with certain items that you don't actually need, because they will only accumulate, and later on certain items I'm sure you bring to recycling. Anyway, here we are asked to ignore certain discounts and liquidations, because if you do so, your wallet and your savings will improve by it. The next card, it's probably related to, still related to the Valentine's period that is behind us. What does this card tells us? Well, we have a lot of celebrations of different holidays throughout the year, and they've become all very commercial. It's not a question if you have bought a box of chocolate during the Valentine period, or some perfume for your wife or for your lover. This is not what this card is about, but it's about that we lost, society in general lost the very reason for what constitutes the basis. What is the essence of these festivals? It doesn't matter if you're religious or not here, but for instance, for giving the example of Christmas here, it changed gradually from a sacred holiday into a celebration of abundance. And maybe here, also in the rest of the year, we have all financial goodwill. We are careful with our money. We look around, we see that we don't spend too much, but mostly during these festivities, we overindulge in expenses. We spend a lot of money here. And of course, the month later, then we get the invoices. Here, this card asks you to remember why these festivals really exist. Learn about the origin of Valentine, Christmas, Easter, and inform yourself about the real value and meaning of these things. It doesn't matter if it's your belief or not, but here we are asked to put these celebrations in their historical context and to give them back their sincere meaning rather than over-consuming. So this card tells us not to be fooled by advertising, marketing regarding these holidays. Gifts are meant to be an expression of feelings and not about abundance. It's not about quantity here or price that should come first, but it's about the gift in itself, the expression of your feelings. Added to this, if you really want to give them a very expensive gift, this gift don't cost you nothing at all. And sometimes with this card, we are asked to give our time, because no one or very few people in our current society have time. Here we are asked to spend some time with our loved ones. The next card is the card of proportions. What does this mean? Well, it means that everything in life is relative. You are the only one who can estimate the real value of your money, because you need to put it in context to your financial situation. For giving an example, a monthly payment for a loan for somebody's home living in a poor country and has 4 children is very different if they live on 1 salary compared to a person or a couple who has 2 salaries, they have no children, and their house is paid. For them, if you live in a poor country, $2 or €2 can mean the difference between eating 3 times a day or not. So the both is difficult to find, to compare here. Anyway, it tells us here to find a more balanced budget. We need to establish, this card tells us, a relationship between the outflow of our money and our salary. We need to balance it here. This card tells us that you are the one in charge. You are the architect. You are the one who is counting. So here we are asked to keep proportionate balances here. And here we need to ask ourselves the importance from everything that we buy. We are asked here to relativize our current expenses and educate ourselves more on what we spend and why we spend it. So we are asked here, if we don't know where our money is going, and you are always surprised that so much is gone, we are asked here to take a piece of paper and make categories of importance and put the categories, how you spend your money. Keep your invoices for 1 month and put everything in categories of importance. You have the basic needs, the things that you think you need, and then you have the luxurious good. And if you see this whole, you will see immediately where your deficit is. If you see where the problem is, you can adjust and put it in context to your salary or your income. And if you put it down, you will immediately see which category is disappropriate. So here we are asked to make the big picture. Sometimes this card tells us that, or it asks us if we are not living beyond our means. So Taurus, this is all for the air group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. If you have interest in work or business card readings, things related to your business or your work, you can find those also on my channel. We do these with the classic Lenormand card readings, and we also have the philosophical, spiritual card readings, who are more like guides for our life. If you put the 3 together, you come as a whole, and you can see there how the evolution of the month to come will be for you. Anyway, Taurus, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel, and thank you for subscribing. And I'm sure we see each other next time. Thank you, Taurus, and bye bye for now. Hello, Taurus, and welcome to the Earth or the Stone group for your financial philosophical card reading for the month of March. As your first card here, we see the card of visual reminders. What does this card tells us? Well, it tells us probably that despite our best intentions, we tend to spend a little bit too much with our credit card here. This is what we see here. Sometimes it means if we go to the mall, we spend more than we intended to do. This card tells us also, before next time you go to the cashier, double check the importance of the items in your basket. Realize what you are about to spend, because it means, this card mostly, that we spend money superficially. And sometimes it means that we are forgetting what we have set up. We had set up as goal that we would not spend this month so much, but we forgot it again here. And this card wants us to teach us a kind of trick here, a visual reminder system. And also it wants you to observe yourself. How do we apply this visual reminder system? Well, for instance, you search some object or something that makes you reflect. You print this out and you put that in the side of your credit card. Something who makes you think that you're gonna spend money again. You can put it with some transparent tape on the side of your credit card, and when you're about to pay, you see the thing there in the side, and it will remind you that you are about to spend again. Or maybe it makes you think before you spend. Anyway, here we see that these visual reminders, they will allow you to mentally validate if your shopping or what you are about to buy is really essential. Also, this is about online shopping. Most of us, we buy a lot of things online in a current situation. And here we are asked to review our passwords. You could, for instance, change your password in things. I just give an example here, like truly necessary or reasonable. And such a password, it will force you to think twice before confirming your financial transaction. Of course, you will need to change these visual aids periodically, and also the passwords you will need to change time to time, because your brain will get used to the visual aids and the passwords. Anyway, and then we start, of course, paying less attention to them. Anyway, this card asks you to be creative and administer those little tricks here that will will try to adjust your tendencies for superficial spending. The next card that we see here is the card of our real needs. We are all unique individuals. We are all different. We are all distinct here. And the same goes for the way we spend our money in our daily life, in our existence here. And this card asks you, do you still remember what your real needs are? These two cards are very close to each other here. And this card asks you to compare in your life what is fundamentally necessary and what is optional. Here we are asked to analyze our condition. Here we need to distinguish with this card what we are obligated to buy and what we desire to buy, because there's a difference there. Here, this card tells us to make a fair and precise analysis of your current situation, and you need to identify correctly what you believe to be essential but might be actually unnecessary. Probably there are a lot of or several articles that you buy monthly that you could have done without, and by eliminating these incidental purchases you will be able to quickly improve your financial health. Of course, luxury purchases, they have their place in your budget, but here we see that we need to give them a certain time. We need to put them in a planning. Here we need to be consciously and make clear decisions. And if you do so, you will see how much surprised and you more enjoy these luxury purchases when you put them in a time frame or in a planning. Anyway, we are asked questions if what we buy is really necessary. The last card that we see here is the card of debts. This card has two faces. There's a positive side to the card and there's a negative side on the card. So I will first explain the negative side. What is the negative side? Well, it can mean that on certain credit cards you have debts. Or a certain you have certain arrears, and these arrears, this card asks you to balance this out. Here, the investment that you make on a credit card is not really an investment, it's a deficit. Why? Because if these debts are open at the end of the month, if you don't balance the credit card, you will pay a lot of interests. We have all several credit cards, and sometimes we have an emergency credit card, and this is probably a credit card that is your problem. Mostly these credit cards, they tend to give you money even though they are already very below zero. The problem with these credit cards is that you pay very high interest. Don't be surprised if you pay 20 to 30% here, and it has no economical value to this. It actually destables your financial situation. Anyway, here we are asked if we have such a credit card, to balance this credit card out and to think about its real purpose. Then we have the positive side of this card. There are the positive debts. What are positive debts? Well, you see the house here. We have our house, we have our mortgage. Why is this a positive debt? Well, because we deduct the mortgage, the interest that we pay, we deduct this from our annual taxes. And secondly, also the value of the land that we have or our house, every year it goes up. So it means this is really an asset. This actually makes you advance in life. So here we need to see what is really important, and we need to think about the quality of our debts. And if it contributes to your wealth, it's better that you invest it in yourself than that you invest it in a credit card. So we need to think here about certain debts or certain improvements that we have in our life. It's better to invest it in your house than you invest it in your bank. Anyway, Taurus, this is all for the Stone Group. I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this short philosophical card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other three that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the four will fit you. If you have interests in how the situation evolves on your work and in your business, I also do Lenormand card readings specifically oriented on that. And we have also the philosophical, spiritual card readings. They are more like guides in your life, and they give you additional information. The three together, they make like a whole, and you can check there if you don't get smarter by watching them all three. We never know too much. Anyway, Taurus, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel. I want to thank you for subscribing, and I'm sure we see each other next time. Thank you, Taurus, and bye-bye for now. Hello, Taurus, and welcome to the Matches or the Fire group for your financial card reading. I must say this is quite a strict card reading that we are having here. We have most of the heavy cards of the deck here. The first card is the most heavy card of the deck that we are having here, and it points probably that your financial situation torments you. Maybe at night you sometimes wake up and you worry about money here. There could be some financial deficits here. For some people, it could mean that they have reached a point of no return here. If you have a business and your business is not going as expected or it's not going well here, sometimes this points to a bankruptcy specialist. Of course, before we go that bad, especially before you sign such an agreement, you should inform yourself and consult more than a professional. We should here evaluate the choices that are offered to us, the advantage and especially the disadvantages. Make sure that you understand the impact this is going to have on you as a person here, because it will have consequences. Probably you will have to radically change your consumption habits here. This is what we are seeing here. If you are a private person, this card points that you might also be in financial difficulties, but probably what you can do with this card also, in most communities there is a social assistance here, a person who is specialized in people who have financial difficulties, and maybe you can go to this person and work out some plan for balancing yourself more out. This is what this card is also about. If this is not applying on you, but you still have financial worries, here we are supposed to think about an immediate modification. It means probably that you overconsume, and you will drastically need to change of behavior, because if you don't, probably you will hit your head against the wall. So think wisely with this card. The next card that we are having here is the card of overconsumption. So it's a card in the same line that we are having here. We are living in a world of overconsumption, and we are daily confronted with a lot of advertisements, and this could be part of your problem if you are a private person. And here we need to see that we need to distinguish the essential from the luxury goods here. This is what we are seeing here. We need to go back to basics, think about our basic needs. Of course, basics have changed. Today, we live in a different world, and it's no longer thinkable, or it's very difficult to live without a smartphone, a cell phone, internet. For some people also, this will include a travel here. But anyway, it means that society has evolved here. Essentials have been replaced here. And here we are asked to evaluate the real needs, the real basics that you can hear. Here we see we need to see that we stop over consuming as we do. Because if you continue consuming, this card tells us here, sometimes we lose perspective, and we collapse sometimes under unnecessities. And here we need to go back to the very essence of life here. Hyperconsumption, it can blind people. And here we need to see that consuming not necessarily makes us happy. So here we are asked to determine what our real basic needs are and estimate also where this brings you. If you eliminate certain things out of your life, would you be worse off without all these superficial attributes? Sometimes it's a good thing to do, that we go back to basics. So here we are asked to live accordingly to our basic needs and not what society dictates us. It's important here that you fall back to your own person. If you do so, you will improve your wallet. The last card is also a very strict card that we have here. This is the card that asks you if you live beyond your means. If you don't have certain monies, it's best not to spend it. Why? Well, it relates to the first card. If you continue spending, we tend to hit our heads against the wall. And the more we spend, the more this debt or these difficulties will deepen. Also, it means that despite your hard labor, you need to get out of this situation. Anyway, we need to realize here, if we have debts on credit cards and these debts are not balanced by the end of the month, we pay big interests. Here we see that if you have an expensive credit card, most of us have several credit cards, and if you have several, it means probably that you have a credit card that is very expensive. It's probably the one that always gives you money. If you have such a credit card, don't be surprised if you pay 20 or 30% interests on them. I know in certain circumstances it's handy to have them, but you should consider by eliminating this card. It don't improve your situation, and here we are asked to stop spending. You need to try here, this card tells here, to balance yourself out. Sometimes this card points also, if you are already in a difficult situation, there might be some unexpected expenses popping up. So here we need to be careful here with this card. Anyway, the basic of this card is, and it asks you, as I said in the beginning, if you live beyond your means. And here we see that we need a total adjustments of our behavior. So Taurus, this is all for the Taur group. The fire group, I hope you get a little bit wiser out of this strict card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 that are immediately connected here. I'm sure one of the 4 will fit you. If you have interest in work card readings or business card readings, you can also check these on my channel. We do also specific work business card readings, and also we do spiritual card readings, spiritual, philosophical. These are more like guides how to proceed with our lives. Anyway, the 3 of them, they make like a whole, and you can get a little bit wiser if you put the 3 of them together. Anyway, Taurus, I want to thank you for your time you spend on my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and see each other next time. Bye bye, Taurus.